Hey, welcome back to Life Skills. I'm standing here with Cindy. Cindy and I have known each other for a long time, and in this work, we've worked together forever. And I guess this week we're talking about love languages, and we were just chatting before we went on camera about how kids need to hear good things, right?
Yep, every day.
Every day.
They do something good every day, whether it's picking up their own stuff and putting it away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, we need to build that into not only kids, but each other. You know,
Yes.
we can point out what's wrong with each other, or we can point out what we see as good in each other, and it makes a big difference. People will live up to what we say, right?
Yep.
If I say, Cindy, you're an amazing worker, you know what? She is an amazing worker. She was before I said it, but she also is much more even after I say it. So it works that way, I think.
Yep.
And you do that with your clients.
Yes, I do. When they get their driver's license or stuff, or their 2 years, it's a hurrah, and I have stickers in my desk that I give them.
What kind of stickers? I want a sticker.
I'll give you a sticker when you're done.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to a guy today that he struggles going to the doctor's office or whatever, and he said, but he always asks for a sucker. And this guy's in his 50s, you know.
Oh,
but
lovely.
getting a sucker means a big deal. But we're talking about love language, and I think Susan's going to unpack that a little bit better. But there really are like 5 major love languages, but we usually
Yes.
have 2 of the 5 that are our primary ones. And once we understand those love languages and we start using that with the people that are really close to us, it makes a big difference. Like my wife,
Communicate
she's a
better.
gift lady. She likes to give out gifts, but then that means she also likes to get
Get
gifts.
'em.
So if I'm smart, which sometimes I am,
Not.
sometimes I am, if I'm smart, I will give her gifts because that's her love language.
Small ones mean a lot.
Right. I
You know?
know. Even if I write a little note and tell her how amazing she is, that's a gift to her.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy this session of life skills. Be blessed, Cindy, anytime you see her, and the rest of our staff, and thanks a lot.
Hi there, and welcome to Life Skills. I'm Susan Szczesniak. I'm the program director here at Roque Retreat. And I wanted to talk to you today about something called love languages. Have you ever found that someone didn't respond? You gave them a hug and they just kind of stood there all stiff, or you paid them a compliment and they said, hey, I don't care about words, it's actions I care about. Or you've tried to spend time with them and they just don't respond, and you feel like I'm trying to show them that I love them, but they're not responding. Or maybe somebody does that to you. They try to give you a hug, or they try to, when you're upset and you just feel like, don't touch me. Well, that's because of something called love languages, and we all have our primary love language. Gary Chapman, who is a psychologist, and back in the day, I couldn't tell you when exactly, but I know I've read this book several times over the years. But he identified 5 love languages. And this is a love language is how do you receive love and care from another person? So to start off, the first one is gifts. So that's when you just really appreciate a gift, and if somebody gives you something, it just makes you feel warm all over. It just makes you feel like, wow, this person really cares about me. Okay, it could be something tangible, like this morning, one of my coworkers came in and gave me a piece of candy, and I was just like, yay, I have coffee, I have chocolate, I am happy, or it could be other kinds of gifts that are not so tangible. It could be going to your graduation, or an important event to you. It could be doing something like that. But it's that sense of, I got a gift and that makes me feel really happy. Another one is acts of service. I know someone who, if I do something for that person, they just feel loved. I'm not so much that way. I like when people do things for me, but I'd usually rather do it myself. And I'd rather get a hug instead, but not everybody's like that. So recognizing when that's true, you can just do the smallest thing. It might be, hey, I did the dishes, or maybe with your kiddos, just doing a little thing for them that would bless them. And, we try to not enable people, but sometimes enabling can be a good thing when you enable somebody to feel supported by how you show love. And acts of service is one of those areas I always tried to, get, like, my kids did their own laundry. If they could see over the top of the washer, they were taught how to do their own laundry. But it didn't mean that if they were struggling or having a hard day, especially when they were teenagers, there were times when I just would do their laundry and say, look, I can see that you're struggling. I'm going to do this for you. And for some of my kids, that was what they needed. For others, not so much. But I would find other ways to show love to them. The next one is quality time. That means just spending time with somebody. Not like for me, I want to get things done. So sometimes to just sit and relax and just be there for someone, that's harder for me because that's not how I receive love. But I've learned to be able to just show love that way by spending that quality time, not feeling like I have to do something else. I'm a big one for trying to multitask. It doesn't always work, but sometimes I do two things at the same time and I don't do either one very well, but I always feel this pressure to get things done. So having to just relax and sit, it's actually good for me, but it shows love to that other person. Another one is physical touch. That's my love language. I love to sit next to people or get hugs or pats on the back or any of that kind of stuff. I feel loved when people do that. So if you come up to me and give me a hug, I'm not going to be offended, especially when I'm hurting. If I'm hurting, I want someone to sit by me and hold my hand. I want someone to put their arm around me. That's how I feel loved and secure, and that, hey, I can do this. I can get past this. I can work through this. But I have a friend who don't do that. If they're struggling, don't touch them. They want to process and get all this, internally they want to do some work first, and then they're open to that, right? So again, it's about knowing your person. It could be your spouse or your significant other, it could be your children, maybe a parent or just a neighbor or a friend. But everybody has a love language. So then the last one is words of affirmation. Just to be able to tell somebody, hey, I think you're one of the coolest people I know. That's affirming. That says a lot. And again, some people are like, well, don't tell me, show me, right? So those words of affirmation, that might not be their love language. So you kind of have to be a little bit of a detective, right? You can try different things, especially with your kids. Does giving a gift say something to them? Does, giving them encouragement and words of affirmation or physical touch? I know one of my kids, we weren't big on punishment, but we were big on discipline. And if a child was being naughty and they knew better, there would be a talking to. And one of my children was very much like, don't expect me to hug you after you've just scolded me, right? And one of the others was like, that was what he needed, was that hug. And I learned this after a long time of failing at connecting with my daughter during those moments. And I finally, when she was actually big enough to realize what was happening, she told me, I want to go to my room and process it, and then I would like a hug. And I was like, wow, I never would have thought that, because I, like one of my other children, I would want a hug right away. I want to know that they love me. If they walked away to let me process, I would be like, oh no, they don't love me, But again, each person's different. So be a super sleuth and find out what that looks like. So there's actually a test for this. If you're interested, you can go to, it's called 5lovelanguages.com, and we're going to put that below in the little chat part below. And there's also there's several out there, but you can even just Google it if you don't like the one that pops up. But like this one, it starts out with a question, and it says, Mark Twain said, I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. What do you think? So here's some of the options. It's true. It's so important to say what we appreciate in other people. Does that resonate with you? Or how about this? Words aren't my strong point. I prefer just spending time alone together. How about that one? How does that sit? Or, okay, as long as it's followed up by an invitation to go out or a gift. Right? Is that you? Is that how you feel? Or sure, if it comes with a cuddle or a hug or a kiss. That would be me. Sit next to me. I don't care what you say about me as long as it's, don't put me down. But even if someone's criticizing, I do better if I get a hug out of it somewhere. It's just how I'm wired. And a lot of people are wired that way. A lot of people are not. So that's why I'm always careful. I'll ask you if you want a hug, because once I learned about the love languages, I realized that not everybody likes that. I didn't know that. I gave everybody a hug because that's what I liked. But that's the other side of the equation, is finding out what you like, and it's actually okay to ask for that. And there have been times when I have said, I just need a hug right now. And if I was with a close friend or a family member, I could ask that. I felt safe to do that. Maybe don't do that in the store with a perfect stranger, but you got to have some boundaries around it. But it's okay to ask for what you want, or to say to somebody, I appreciate your constructive criticism, but it's always nice to hear what I'm doing right too. So it's okay to ask for the things that you need. All right. So here's another question. I think I better answer that one before I can go on. Okay, question number 2. You're feeling a little down. You'd really like your partner to what? To say, I know it's hard and I admire your courage. To come home early and spend a cozy evening with you. To offer you a surprise weekend of relaxation. Or to take you in their arms and make you forget it all. Okay, so that's whatever resonates with you, that you're probably starting to see a pattern, right? And as you go through, this one happens to be 16 questions. If you go through this whole entire test, you'll be able to identify, you'll probably have a main love language, but there may be 1 or 2 things that really help you to take in that feeling of, I feel cared for and I feel loved. Now, I also have some friends who they don't understand how to do that, and so I've had to notice that, oh, this friend, her love language is quality time, so that's what she's trying to give me. And then I can kind of process that and receive the love that she's offering and the friendship that she's offering without being like, well, she's not giving me a hug. That's not her love language, so she doesn't give me a hug, but she gives me quality time. So that's part of it too, is being able to recognize that someone else is making the effort. I remember when I was a little kid, I may have mentioned this around Christmas, I always felt like the other kids got more than I did for Christmas. Well, that's because that's kind of one of my secondary love languages, is gifts. So feeling cheated that way, I felt really unloved. And that wasn't true. It wasn't true that I wasn't loved. It was only true that my parents always put a book in with my gift, and it would always fit in the box. They always gave us one box with a bunch of stuff in it, and they always added a book to mine, but I didn't notice that they never added a book to anyone else's. They always got some other little thing, but that was wrapped separately. And see, so in my mind though, as a child, I felt incredibly unloved. But as I grew up and I came to understand, I didn't notice everything that they did, and I wasn't mature enough to kind of think it through. I only went by the emotion that I felt. And so now as an adult, I recognize that I'm not going to get gifts all the time. And it's okay. That piece of chocolate, that was a gift. I got that. I received the friendship and love that was offered through that. And that's how we can kind of help build some emotional health within ourselves and within the people that we're with. Now, this other website, the 5 Love Languages website, actually has a test for teens, has one for kids, it has one for singles, and it has one for couples. So if you're struggling in any of those relationships, it's just nice to know, how can I really meet them where they're at and show them love and care and concern in a way that they're going to hear. And talk about, like, I forget who coined this, but like you have a love tank, a tank that needs to be filled up, just like a gas tank. You can't run on empty, right? And you can't be emotionally healthy without having those healthy relationships. And sometimes you just miss, maybe with a parent or a sibling or a friend, you might miss how they're really trying to show you that care and concern and love. And so being aware of this, I think, is a really good thing. It was one of the best things that I ever learned as far as relationships, was to not only receive in the way that someone has to give, but also to try to give in the way that they will receive. And it does take a little bit of work, but in the end, I think it's really, really worth it. So I know we did a thing on relationships a few weeks ago, but I want to reiterate, we don't stay healthy in isolation. Wellness involves community and support. And so I would really encourage you, if you are struggling in those areas, maybe your case manager can help you to figure out how to make some new connections. We encourage you, this is Clean and Sober Living, we encourage you all to go to recovery meetings, or if drugs and alcohol aren't your thing, or addiction, and you don't feel like you need that, what about a Bible study group, or a hiking club, or bowling? I have a friend who goes bowling every Thursday, and that's his self-care, and it's a beautiful thing. We have to take care of ourselves and those relationships with people around us in order to stay healthy. We also talked about codependence. We can get off a little bit into codependence, trying too hard to please somebody, and that's not our job to make everybody happy. But it does show love when you take the care and concern of finding out who that person is and how they're really going to receive the love that you have to give. I can get off into codependence quite easy, but I can usually tell when I'm doing that. When I'm feeling insecure, that's when I am being codependent. But when I can look inside myself and see that I really want to connect this person, I really care for this person, I really love this person, and I want them to know that. I want them to live their best life. I want to support them in the ways that they need to be supported. So how can I notice what's going on? When someone's giving you gifts, that's another way that you can notice. That's probably their love language. Whatever they're doing for you, that's probably their love language. So be aware and notice, and especially with those primary relationships, the people that you live with. I have a house full of folks that rent rooms from me, and we've kind of become a family. And I try to notice what they need, and my one roommate, his thing is cooking, so I try to give him the kitchen as much as I can and not complain if everything doesn't get cleaned up to my standards. I'll just go clean it, because I want him to feel at home, right? So those are the kind of things that we can do. So I hope this has been a helpful episode, and that you will do a little research on that love language idea, and especially that you'll start to notice, if you haven't already, you probably already have identified certain people around you and what their love language is. But it works really well with kids. A kid that just won't clean their room. There might be some resistance because maybe that you need to approach it in a different way. Like for me, you put a star on maybe that's a form of a gift. But when I was younger, and even now, if somebody gives me a gold star, I'm super happy. Like, I feel good. Not everybody, like my daughter, that's not meaningful to her. She's like, I don't want a gold star, She wants quality time. So there again, it's like, what do people need and want? What tells them that I'm doing well, I'm okay, I'm loved, I'm supported? What tells them that? So that's about all I got to say about that. And I want to say you can extend this to anyone, neighbors. And they don't have to be close friends. It can extend to maybe somebody's out there that's really bugging you. Find out what their love language is. Because you might be doing something to bug them back without knowing it, right? So you can use this tool for a wide variety of relationship issues and just to build better relationships with people around you. So I hope that was helpful, and just want to say thank you for tuning into Life Skills, and we'll see you next time.